Welcome one, welcome all to the Budapest Bump and Run, normally reserved for the best of the best in Formula One cars, is now going to be utilized tonight for the drunkest of the drunk in late model stocks in the Beer League from Hungary, their premier racetrack, the Hungaroring circuit. 4 heat races and a 55-minute feature event on store for you guys tonight. I'm Austin Edstrom. I'm going to be your commentator here tonight, as Nolan Rimple is unfortunately just a little bit ill, but he's still behind the production booth doing everything he can to put on a good show. We're going to have a good one for you tonight. I mean, this racetrack, it's a little tough to pass in the F1 cars. I feel like it doesn't put on a great show in the F1 or with the F1 cars, because those cars are just so big. But with these late model stocks, I'm thinking, especially with 40 of them out here, I'm thinking we're going to get a heck of a show as we pull up our point standings. Current points: Alex Cofford up in the race lead by 7 points. And look at that, those beers coming in handy. Alexander Hammond's only with 2, and you got to say that's obviously the point differential. 6 points between them, and the well, a lot more than 6 beers between them. Giovanni Romano, our reigning champion, back in 4th place. A good chunk of points off the race lead as well, with 0 beers drank, also keeping them a good chunk of points back. Alexander Klenk in 5th. Just kind of looking through the rest of the Drivers' Championship. Alexander Hammonds has had a great debut season so far. Got to point out his incredible run, even without the beers. I mean, he's been unbelievably quick, and that you got to point that out because he's got 2 beers drank and he's second in points. Got to point out his just absolute raw pace on the entirety of the season. Looking at that on the team championship though, Ella Mellons up at the front by 300 points. Have this thing absolutely locked up. I mean, there's just about no chance anybody could challenge them here to the end. But that second place fight is extremely strong between Pizza Dog, Team Cheese, Flying Donut, and Stick and Balls. I mean, look at that. They're all in the 1300 bracket, only 53 points separating 2nd through 5th. Going to be a heck of a fight for that 2nd place in the team's championship. We got a good fight for 6 as well between Team TMNT and Serial Team 6. Only a few points between them, and then I think 8th and 9th are solidified towards the back. And then this is getting a little bit ridiculous. At this point in the season, the Beer League combined pace, 5.23 kegs of beer through the 9 races so far this season. Unbelievable. That's ridiculous. I see 5.23 full kegs. 5 full kegs on my screen in 9 races. It's like I said, the drunkest of the drunk in the pre-race. 40 drivers out here every week, and not all of them drink. So that's really saying something, right? Our 2nd place runner only has 2 beers drank on the whole season, and we still got over 5 kegs drank. So killing it on the racetrack and killing it in the fridge. Alex Cofford not even on the racetrack, so killing it dirt tracking. We've become pretty accustomed to that. Our points leader just having a little bit of fun in the early stages and then taking it a little bit more serious once we get on into the main event. Multiple time winner so far this season, driving that number 19. Still have about 20 seconds until we get down into our first heat race of the afternoon. Got 4 of those in store for you this evening. I believe we've got a couple over 40 cars, as is typical in the Beer League, for you tonight, which, you know, I mentioned the F1 cars being really, really wide. These late model stocks, obviously not as wide, going to be easier to pass, but still a narrow circuit. Going to be tough in certain instances, but I think we're going to see a fun show. There's going to be a lot of passing zones here at the Hungaroring. Obviously, you're not going to get our full idea of exactly what kind of ropes we're going to get until we get to that big-time main event. But we do get a little teaser, a couple little teasers, I should say, in the four heat races leading up the pole. On the first heat race, Alexander Hammonds, like I mentioned in the pre-race, has done a great job in his debut season. Jason Lee in 2nd, Jeremy Castro in 3rd. Evan Campbell's going to be lining up in 4th with Mac Verstappen in 5th, Brooks Clayton in 6th, Stefan Purcell in 7th, and Austin Tucker in 8th. Jordan Babcock's going to line up in 9th place, and Graham Jordan is going to round out the 10-car heat race 1 field. Surprised I only have 10 cars for heat race 1, but we've got exactly 10 all the way through. So we do still have, we have eclipsed that 40 car mark once again in the beer league. Still only one race under 40 cars this entire season. Heck of a job by the entire beer league driver roster to come out and show out week in, week out. I mean, pretty easy to show out whenever, I imagine it's a lot of fun out there. Just gonna go out there and race a bunch of race cars, have fun, drink beer. As the 5 red lights are about to come on, not quite revving the engines up just yet. The red lights have flicked on. Heat race 1 is about to get underway. Alexander Hammonds from the pole is going to lead us down towards turn number 1. Jason Lee, though, on the inside. Gets a good restart. Alexander Hammonds going to cover him off. Jason Lee takes the outside route towards turn number 1. Long run down towards the corner as they fan out a little bit further back. Jason Lee trying to cut back on the apex, not quite able to do it. Hammonds parks it there, speeds off, coming down towards number 2, turn number 2. Hammonds easily in the race lead. Jason Lee just following through. Side-by-side battle between Mac Verstappen and Evan Campbell ends with Verstappen taking the position. Moving up to P4. Great running spot here from Mac Verstappen in the early going. Verstappen's had a couple better runs than I think we've seen lately as the 243 goes around in the background. Austin Tucker, gets nailed towards the back. Graham Jordan tags him in the rear deck lid. I really shouldn't say rear deck lid. That would be the top of his car. I don't think he was sideways, propped up sideways, but he rear bumper there, rear fender. Unfortunate for Austin Tucker, but we've seen him be ridiculously quick all season long. So even though he's going to finish pretty far back in this heat race, if not all the way plumb last, we're going to see him move up towards the front in the heat race and still get a good chunk of points out of this. But it does probably end his chance at perhaps winning the race, right? I feel like Austin Tucker's one of those drivers that typically starts out front and then will challenge, and if things go his way, he'll be right there for the race win. But if they don't, top 5, top 10. But with starting at the very back, it's going to be a tough challenge in the main event. Evan Campbell trying to get that position back from Mac Verstappen that he lost earlier in the lap. Leader just coming across the line to take 2 to go. It says 2 to go, but I do believe we're going to hit the time limit before we actually get to that. So this should be the last lap that the leaders are on currently. Is Evan Campbell takes a late dive move down to the bottom of Mac Verstappen down to turn number 1. Verstappen's going to get the better run on exit though on that outside line. It was a hopeful move from Campbell down into the entrance of the corner, but it was never really on. He wasn't close enough to Mac, and Mac did a good job not overreacting, just keeping it on the outside and keeping his foot in it as soon as he could, and getting off the corner better. Flowing through in 4th place. Trying to bring that number 5 home and get a really good finish here in heat race number 1. Obviously, heat race number 1 gives you the best starting position. First, like obviously, Verstappen finishing in 4th is going to be better than, or starting better than every other 4th place driver. So he'll be starting in about the 13th place position, I believe, for the 4th place finish here tonight, which will be a heck of a result for Mac. I feel like he struggled a lot in the last couple races. He's been pretty consistent, pretty good, and obviously tonight, running P4 in heat race number 1, be an awesome result for Mac. A little wide there for Verstappen, allows Campbell to close in. Not quite close enough as we come into the 3rd sector, final sector of the racetrack. Coming down to the left-hand hairpin, 180-degree corner, wrapping all the way around, slow and steady, patient on the throttle. A little wiggly on exit, but not too bad, and still has the position held down. Evan Campbell not quite able to get there on Verstappen, but further up the road, Alexander Hammonds is going to come across the line and win heat race number 1. Jason Lee going to come in 2nd. Oh, the white flag! I thought we had the time elapsed. I had it completely wrong.
Magello messed me up with that too.
My iRacing lied to me. Maybe, or maybe I just can't read. Either way, we got one more lap of the good battle. Evan Campbell has got one more lap to figure this one out. See, this is what happens whenever I don't have my main man here. I get confused, man. I'll lose my mind. I need to be led. I'm just gonna look at that cleaned up. But final lap, finally, we get all 4 laps here at the Hungaroring. Even though I said Alexander Hammonds won last lap prematurely, I ended it early, just like the IMSA series ended the Rolex 24 early this year. Hammonds is still probably going to come through and win this thing with a comfortable 2.7 second gap over Jason Lee. Very consistent race from Alexander Hammonds. Started up front. Not a mega challenge into turn 1, but Jason Lee was there. But after that, pretty smooth sailing from Hammonds in the 26. Gonna have to see if he's gonna have any real competitors in any of the other heat races. See if anybody challenges that pace that he's shown here in the first race. Battle for 8th. Austin Tucker tried to take it from Stefan Purcell. Graham Jordan a little bit further back, about a second. Austin Tucker trying to recover from that incident we saw on lap number 1. He's gained 2 spots, at least bettering his starting position by 8 positions. So good, at least a somewhat of a recovery from Austin Tucker there. But now up towards the front of the race, up towards the front of the field, coming out of the final corner, Alexander Hammonds wins heat race number 1. Finally, 1 lap after I feel like he should have. Jason Lee in 2nd, Jeremy Castro 3rd, and we have a spinner off the final corner. Babcock has gone slide to the back of the pack, which promotes Austin Tucker to one more spot up, so he actually goes plus 12 at the end of this. So that ended up being a big help for the 243 in the main event. If you'd like to look at the final race rundown of heat race number 1, take a pause right there. There they are on the screen. Ma'am, pause. If not, they're about to be gone. They're gone. You missed your chance. And this is the lineup for heat race number 2. Coming up for you right now, Chris Bright on the pole. Barrett Morton in 2nd, Adam Jackson in 3rd, Aaron Thacker in 4th. Todd Nuttall lines up row number 3 with Tyler Vietnan alongside him. Jonathan Lefebvre in P7. Brian LeBlanc in 8th, Ron Wolf in 9th, and Tyler Agostino rounds out your 10-car heat race number 2 field. Moments away from the second heat race to start. Got a couple people revving their engines, a little impatient, ready to get going. And I feel it, man. I like this racetrack. I feel like we're going to get some good racing whenever we get a bunch of them out here. Scarce little heat race field. Sometimes you just get those little 2-car battles, and it's like, man, if we had that whole field out here, this would be pretty spicy. So I feel like we're going to have a good main event tonight. And we've still got 3 more heat races to show us how it's done. Chris Bright leading. No, Barrett Morton doesn't get going on the start. Doesn't go whatsoever. That entire inside group gets stacked up, and this field is completely spread out in the front 4, but everybody behind him is stacked up under a blanket going down to turn number 1. Chris Bright easily in the lead. Adam Jackson in 2nd. Little stack up behind 3 wide. Barrett Morton, the cause of the incident on the outside, makes contact. I think that was the 44 that he sent around. It might have been the 43, Tyler Vietnan. Sorry, no, it was the 44, Tyler Agostino. Just like Austin Tucker in the last race, Tyler Agostino, heavy setback right away on lap number 1. Chris Bright out to the race lead. Adam Jackson still in 2nd. Everybody in the back still scrambling, trying to figure out what the heck happened on the front straightaway. 512 gets a little sketchy through the left-hander. Able to get back on the racetrack without losing the spot, but Lefebvre able to hang on to it. Ron Wolf, though, able to get to his outside as the 512 has a slowdown penalty, but he's able to keep the position for that first apex, and then he cut another one, so he's probably got another slowdown. So I imagine to see Lefebvre maybe drop through the running order a little bit as he's accumulated a little bit of time penalties here in the early going, and maybe another one there. Maybe not. A lot of people ran wide there, but that felt really wide for that corner. I mean, that was a good 2 car widths outside the track limits there, but you can never really tell whether they're going to rule it like a F1 race or like a NASCAR race. And that's a very, very, very wide margin.
Even the FIA doesn't know sometimes.
Brian the Thonk LeBlanc getting by. Tyler Vietnan in the 43. Brian looking 40 in the 512 spins right in front of him coming out of the final corner. He was looking sporty until that. Loses 2 positions. Lefebvre still trying to get that thing under wraps. The Thonk got thonked coming out of the last corner. Unfortunate for Brian, sending him down to the back of the heat race number 2 running order, at least a little bit further back, losing 2 spots. Even more unfortunate for Lefebvre, who just lost it coming out of the final corner. Battle for 6 on your screen. Barrett Morton qualified second for heat race number 2, so your 6th fastest. Not 6th fastest. That'd be, yeah, it would be 6th fastest, right? No, 5th fastest lap time on qualifying. And no, it would be 6th. Sorry, I'm so confused. It would be 6th fastest lap time in qualifying. So we put him second in heat race number 2. Unfortunately, that front stretch straightaway or front straightaway start was just, I don't know. It's like he either wasn't in gear or wasn't looking at his monitor. I mean, just terrible start for Morton, putting him all the way back, stacking up a couple other guys, ruining a couple of other guys' starts, and making a lot of these guys just play catch up. Unfortunately, they're so far back that the furthest they can get up is probably Barrett Morton, unless somebody else in front of them makes a mistake. Morton, 10 seconds off the race lead, 5.5 off any other competition. So it's just this little spot of 4 cars as Tyler Vietnan gets loose. Still trying to save it. Way outside the track limits of the corner. Able to stay side by side with LeBlanc. Heavy deep into the braking zone for the hairpin. Able to hold it around the inside. LeBlanc, does he stay side by side before the final corner? Ties it him deep on the inside as the leaders take the white flag. Still going to be side by side on the front straightaway. Fantastic racing between these two as LeBlanc gets a little twitchy on exit as well. Can Vietnan do anything down the front stretch? Final lap in heat race number 2 from the Hungaroring. Brian LeBlanc on the inside, trying to take P7 away from Tyler Vietnan. Oh, he slides coming out of turn number 1, almost contact between the two. He hangs on, still side by side, but you don't want to be on the outside through turn number 2. Tyler Vietnan wrapping the inside, looking nice and tidy down there. Just about squeezes out LeBlanc, but still side by side, and LeBlanc now on the inside through the kink. Little twitchy, has to give up the position finally. Side by side for half a lap. Got to give it to the 43 and the 95. That was absolutely fantastic for P7. And now LeBlanc under fire from the 44. Tyler Agostino. Honestly, these guys are pretty quick. These are some fast names back here. Vietnan and LeBlanc, Agostino all fight for P7 in heat race number 2. LeBlanc struggling on the outside through the chicane, and it's not going to end well for him. Finally, it goes awry. As he's spinning around, he's going to lose that 9th place position as well. Fall to the back of the pack. Looking at the battle for 3rd, though. Todd Madole hanging on. Ron Wolf barely hanging on to 4th over Aaron Thacker. Oh, but Madole got a little twitchy. Thought he might have opened the door there for Wolf. Not quite. Can Wolf do enough through the hairpin to give himself an opportunity through the final corner? Buffon coming out of the final corner, coming to the line. Chris Bright in that Cinnamon Toast Crunch Machine is going to be the winner of heat race number 2. Adam Jackson in 2nd. Todd Madole 3rd. Ron Wolf gives up 4th intentionally to Aaron Thacker. Fairborn in 6th. Tyler Vietnan in 7th. Tyler Agostino in 8th. And it looks like Brian Lefebvre is going to be giving up. Nope, he's going to take that 9th place position, and Brian LeBlanc is going to come home in 10th. There's your heat race number 2 results. Take a quick little pause. Screenshot. Bam, they're gone. And now, quickly, into heat race number 3, your starting lineup. Starting up on the pole, your 3rd fastest qualifier, John Combs. Starting in 2nd, Tyler Carlton. 3rd place is going to be Josh Freed with Sean Bradley in 4th. Matthew Dupuis starting in 5th, Tanner Klein in 6th. Morgan Otto is going to be in 7th place with Alex Cofford in 8th. Kyle Smith starting in 9th, and Ethan Condi is going to round out your 10-car heat race, number 3 field. I feel like the run down to turn number 1 here at the Hungaroring might be the longest run down to turn number 1 that we've had at any of our racetrack. Maybe I take it back. Long Beach is pretty long. Oh, producer says Magello. That's a fair point. It just feels like such a long run that they almost get so spread out before they even get down to turn number 1. The start to heat race number 3 is underway. John Combs with the race lead. Finally, though, up towards the front, Josh Freed gets a great start from P3, able to get to the outside. 3 wide here for the race lead. Tyler Carlton on the inside. Josh Freed dives it in way deep on the outside. John Combs hits him through the apex of the corner and takes the race lead through the middle. John Combs holds on from the pole. Now, side by side for second, Josh Freed to the inside. Does he break just as deep into turn number 2? Yes, he does! He takes out John Combs in the race lead. He spins on the inside. Freed hits him back straight. He saved him. Oh, and then Combs gets taken out again. Gets spun sideways. John Combs. I don't have any other words other than chaos, ruckus, mayhem. Unbelievable. John Combs, Josh Freed starts first, third, now back running 8th, 9th. And that was just the start of a heat race. I can't imagine the possibility of the start of the main event as the 00. Sean Bradley goes over that little no-cut curve on the inside. Affects him just a little bit. Affects him enough to give up the position to Alex Cofford. Cofford up to 2nd place now. Carlton, the 2nd and a half, just about in the race lead over Cofford, who's already stretched out that gap to Bradley by 7/8 tenths of a second. Bradley over Kyle Smith here. Coming to 2 laps to go as Cofford's trying to run down Tyler Carlton. Smith, though, pressuring Bradley. Getting ever so close to the back bumper. Not quite able to get close enough. John Combs trying to make a move here. Looks like the 17, Ethan Condi, honestly just spun that out on his own. I don't think that he ever got touched. I think he just lost that under braking. We've seen that time and time again here in the late model stocks in the beer league. These things under braking seem to be a nightmare a lot of the times. As we see Kyle Smith lock up into turn number 1. Almost having a major issue, but able to keep that thing under wraps. Still rolling in the 4th place position. Talking about Cofford, who got past Bradley not too long ago. He's absolutely gapped Bradley and has ran down our race leader. Cofford was 1.3 seconds back not too long ago. Now, only 4/10 of a second off the back bumper of Tyler Carlton. Now, if I was Carlton, I'd probably be sweating bullets if it was anybody else. But given that it's Cofford and this is a heat race, I probably wouldn't care, given the fact that Cofford's going to find a way to throw himself off of the racetrack in spectacular fashion. But for now, it is looking like a battle, as Cofford has not completely destroyed his race car. Carlton able to lead the way. Cofford just following him through right in the tire tracks, getting a little bit of practice for the main event in that dirty air coming through. Cofford had a little bit of a compromised line through there. Does a little bit better through the right-hander.
Spin.
Tanner Klein spins towards the back as we look at a replay, figuring out what happened to the 63. Just lost it all on his own, all on his own. Quick tug of the wheel to the right. Fast change of direction, and that back end just looped around on him. As the race leaders come out of the penultimate corner down to the final. Tyler Carlton still leading the way in that 45 Ninja Turtles machine. I wish I could tell you which one it was, but I have no idea.
It's the 45 Carlton.
A producer's letting me know it's the 45 of Carlton. I know that, buddy. I meant the Ninja Turtle. I don't know my Ninja Turtles.
Oh. Leonardo, I think.
was that off the racetrack on the bike? Was that?
Kyle Smith, he towed.
I couldn't quite tell who was off in turn 1, but Kyle Smith towed elsewhere. Or he was also off in turn 1, but he got hit by the 703. That's going to be Matthew Dupuis. Kyle Smith called it quits. Dupuis was trudging along through the apron, or through the grass on the inside of turn number 1. Carlton still holding on to the race lead, but Crawford's going to find it here on the inside. Carlton missed the corner. Crawford's going to take it on the inside of these. He's just going to outbrake him down into the... Okay, well.
That's like this dude.
He found a spot to turn in that I didn't even think about. I mean, that was fantastic. I would have never thought about turning into that corner at that spot. But Crawford found a way, got the move done, up to P1. Great job from the 19. As John Combs is trying to get past Sean Bradley, probably in a more legal way, if I had to guess. As he follows him through.
Yeah,
Crawford making his win as illegal as possible. Coming out of the final corner, all the way off the racetrack. Mowing the grass. Classic Crawford moves in heat race number 3. Winning the thing for now, but that'll change here pretty quickly. Tyler Carlton in second. Sean Bradley holds off for third. John Combs in fourth. Josh Freed fifth. Matthew Dupuis coming out of the final corner. Sorry, coming across the line to finish sixth. Ethan Conti coming out of the final corner to finish seventh. Tanner Klein eighth. And Morganato is going to round out the finishers in ninth place, as Kyle Smith took the tow on the last lap and is going to be the 10th place finisher in heat race number 3. And now for the starting lineup of heat race number 4, your final heat race of the evening before we get to that 55-minute main event. Kyle Blevins is going to be on the pole for heat race number 4. Chris Hannigan lining up alongside of him. Darren Bai in third. Alexander Bueller in fourth. Blake Gamble is going to be lining up in 5th place. Greg Beckman in 6th. Giovanni Romano 7th. Austin McGolgan in 8th place. Eric Cronenberg in 9th. And Adam Joseph Mailhot in 10th. Oh boy. My first namesake giving me a heart attack on the last name there. But getting ready to start heat race number 4 here. Kyle Blevins on the front row. Those 5 red lights are lighting up. And they are out. Heat race number 4 is underway as Kyle Blevins gets us started. Chris Hannigan gets a better jump on the inside. Gets to the gears better. Then the 2, Chris Hannigan takes the race lead just under the gear shifts. What in the world? Chris Hannigan out of the gate, just better under acceleration. Oh, but turn 1, he completely misses, locks up the right front, allows the 2 to undercut him, coming back on the outside. Not going to be the best position coming through turn number 2, but at least puts him in a favorable spot to line him up for this cutback, and he does it again. Back to the inside, the number 2 of Kyle Blevins had a terrible start, but after 2 corners, he's back out front. Through turn 4, down into turn 5. As we see a spin through turn 4. 42 of Beckman. Blake Gambrell getting into it. Oh, down the straightaway. Doesn't feel good getting left rear down the straightaway. It's happened to me. I can tell you right now. It's the first thing you want to do is get on your radio and say all the bad words that your mama told you not to say whenever you were 7. And typically the good part of my conscience does not win. It's a miracle I have not been protested. 3 laps to go here in heat race number 4. Giovanni Romano coming down to the penultimate corner. Fighting his way through the pack up to P5. Reigning series champion. Picked this car this season. Really expected Giovanni to challenge for that championship, but really hasn't seemed like a championship season out of the 99. He's been quick, just hasn't quite been race win every week quick like we saw last year in the Ford Mustang. This year in the late model stock just seems to be top 5 pace, top 3 pace, but obviously handicapped itself starting in the back. And so with top 3 pace starting at the back every race, you may just stagnate around 10th after the field spread, depending on the cautions. So just hasn't worked out for Romano this year, and I think that this car has been a little bit harder to pass in than last season's car was. We're, I think, a little higher on the accident total. So our pass numbers might be up because of the accidents, but I do think that it is a little bit more difficult to pass here in the late model stock than that Ford Mustang we were using last season. Romano following Bueller, who's following by through that chicane in the second sector here at the Hungaroring. Trying to find a way through, just fought it a little bit coming out of that corner, a little nervy. Not a huge moment from Romano, but I use these moments to kind of gauge how's he going to be able to pass in the main event. I know that he's not going to finish up here because he likes starting in the back in the main event, but he's going to have to pass a lot of quick guys getting up towards the front in the main event. So if he can't pass Alexander Bueller here before he calls it quits and starts in the back, I'm gonna be a little nervous. And like I mentioned in the pre-race, Giovanni Romano is calling it quits already. But like I mentioned in the pre-race, this is a hard track to pass at in the F1 cars. And while I think it's going to be easier in these, I still think that this is just a naturally difficult track. I think once you get side by side, anything can happen, but it's tough to get there. Now you do have these heavy braking zones where you can potentially make something happen, but we've seen time and time again already people out-braking themselves down into the corner. Chris Hannigan did it twice at the very beginning of this race to give up the race lead to Kyle Blevins, who's now scooting away on the final lap and stretched out that gap to over a second over the 4 car of Chris Hannigan. Kyle Blevins, relatively new to the beer league, has found himself towards the front based off of pure pace. Remember a couple of weeks ago, he was running really well, but just got caught up in accident after accident after accident after accident. But here tonight in heat race number 4, he's kept that thing clean. Didn't have a good start, really slow off the line, so he'll need to get that figured out for the main event. We're taking a look back at the 31. Austin McColgan coming through turn number 2, just loses it under braking. Towards the front of the field. Kyle Blevins still holding on to that race lead. Chris Hannigan has cut it down heavily, though. Blevins must have made a mistake while we were under replay because Hannigan has cut that gap down. 0.7 of a second gone. Oh, and now Chris Hannigan's gone, spinning it out. And that second place is completely out of grasp for the driver of the number 4. 2nd to 6th in a blink of an eye. Maybe getting a little bit too greedy because he was looking for 4 extra spots on the starting grid as he spins it out in the background once again. But instead, it's going to be about -16, -20 for Hannigan as Kyle Blevins comes across the line of heat race number 4 to win it. Darren Bai finishes in 2nd. Giovanni Romano in 3rd, but I saw him pit, so I'm guessing he sped all the way down pit lane. Alexander Bueller in 4th. Eric Cronenberg 5th. Adam Joseph Mailhot 6th. Blake Gamble 7th. Austin McColgan 8th. Chris Hannigan 9th. And Greg Beckman rounds out your heat race number 4 field. And that is the heat races done. And we are going to be looking at your heat race 4 number results. Number results? Heat race number 4 results. That makes a little bit more sense. In just a moment. Well, we might not get them up. we're just going to go straight to the main event. We're going to go straight to our starting lineup. The most important thing to this main event starting lineup here on the pole. After our heat races, Alexander Hammonds up on the top step, starting up in P1. Chris Bright in second, Tyler Carlson third, Kyle Blevins fourth, Jason Lee in fifth, Adam Jackson in sixth. Sean Bradley's going to be starting in seventh with Darren Bai in eighth, Jeremy Castro in ninth, and Todd Madole rounds out the top 10. John Combs is going to be 11th, Alexander Bueller in 12th, Mac Verstappen 13th, Aaron Thacker 14th. Josh Freed's going to be starting in 15th. 16th will be Eric Cronenberg with 17th, Evan Campbell. 18th is Ron Wolf. 19th is going to be Matthew Dupuis with Adam Joseph Mailhot starting in 20th. Brooks Clayton is 21st with Barrett Morton in 22nd. 23rd is Ethan Conde. 24th, Blake Gambrill. 25th is going to be Austin Tucker with Tyler Vietin in 26th, Tanner Klein in 27th, and Austin McColgan in 28th. Stephen Purcell is going to be starting in 29th place with Tyler Augustino in 30th. 31st is Morgan Otto, 32nd, Chris Hannigan, 33rd, Graham Jordan, 34th, Jonathan LeFaber. 35th is going to be Alex Cofford, 36th, Graham Beckman, 37th, Jordan Babcock, 38th, Brian LeBlanc, 39th, Kyle Smith, and 40th place is going to be Giovanni Romano. That's going to be your entire 40-car field to round out, or this is going to be rounding out your entire 40-car field here at the Hungaroring, I should say. Looking forward to getting this one kicked off. With it being tight quarters, like I said, it's going to be tough to pass, but whenever they do get side by side, it's going to be some heavy weight fight. Alexander Hammonds is going to be leading the way down to the turn number 1. We saw many mistakes on the jumps during the heat races. Are we going to see it again from the race leader, Alexander Hammonds? As the green flag waves for the Budapest bump and run, Alexander Hammonds is going to lead us down into turn number 1. Chris Bright in a side-by-side battle for second with Tyler Carlton, who had a great start from third. Kyle Blevins fresh off that heat race number 4 win, still just cycling through in 4th place, single file, 3 wide further back, 4 wide further back, late on the brakes from Vietin. Chris Hannigan's taking an alternate route down on the inside. I don't even think rally cars would have gone down there as Chris Bright loses a position here to Tyler Carlton. Still further back, 3 wide. Matthew Dupuis runs off the racetrack. Alex Cofford's caught in between a couple of guys. Is that Jason Lee going off in the back, spinning through the field? Barrett Morton does his best to avoid as Evan Campbell goes around. I believe that was Mac Verstappen that he made contact with. Verstappen was, it was actually Ron Wolf, I believe. A little bit of mayhem as they came out of turn number 3, but all in all, a relatively clean lap by barely standards. Obviously still halfway through it, and we're going too wide through the chicane. We have 1 car bailed, that's the 57. Oh, and a stack up towards the back, Jason Lee, a little bit more contact. While everybody else is huffing and puffing and freaking out, getting their elbows out, Alexander Hammonds is just skating away, having a Sunday drive. As we look at Todd Madole here, trying to take a spot from Aaron Thacker. Thacker dives deep on the brakes, trying to take the outside to Darren Bai. He couldn't get there. Opens up the door to Todd Madole, but he does have the inside. Thacker does, to the final corner. And he's going to be able to keep that position and put Todd Madole under a little bit of pressure from Eric Cronenberg down the front straightaway. Madole defense late. Gets a little late on the brakes, almost gets in the back of the 816. Is able to flow through though, not lose too much time on exit. Evan Campbell a little bit further back, coming out of the final corner, just loops it on his own. Just compounding the earlier mistake that we saw out of Evan Campbell. Then Brian LeBlanc coming in at turn number 1, gets just ran over by LeFaber. I mean, really late on the brakes from the 512, just a little bit too late. And once again, the thumb gets thumped. As we're looking at Ron Wolf in the 119, Matthew Dupuis in the 703 almost gets in the back bumper. Vietin on the inside. 18 is just so nervy for me every time. Just seeing them snake through there, single file. Just waiting to see one of them double wide. Oh, Crawford loose. Able to hold on to the spot. Honestly, gave him a pretty good line through that corner as he was able to really, really arc the entrance. It's just the section really nice. Trying to drive up to the back bumper of Dupuis in the 703. Gets to the inside. Through that fast right-hand kink. Great move through that corner to get to the inside in the heavy braking zone and take that position away from Dupuis, who tries to slide back down to the inside, but Austin Tucker was there trying to follow him through, and they both go spinning off into the grass. What should have been a one-position loss for Dupuis is going to be about 10 or 12. Looking at John Combs here in 7th. Jeremy Castro not too far back, coming down into turn number 1. Later on the brakes than Combs. Not eager enough to make a move. Turn 1 just seems to be such a good passing zone in these cars. And I mean, it makes sense. Long, long, long braking zone in just about any NASCAR vehicle. Next gen's a little bit different, but just about any other stock car, that braking zone is ridiculous. And you have a lot of time to outbrake somebody, and we're seeing that a lot into turn number 1. Honestly, I feel like we're seeing it a little bit more tonight on that long straightaway as we see Vietnam go crashing hard down the straightaway, exiting turn number 3. Oh, the rejoin coming back across the track. Takes out the number 57, Stephen Purcell. Ends up hitting the inside wall, gets back on track. But Vietnam just gassed that thing back up, almost took out your reigning champion. And then back to back across the track. That's the, excuse me, I saw the random yellow window open and I thought a yellow flag came out. The window just opened. It looks like did Crawford get into the back of the 43 coming through turn 3, and then the 43 just did a little flick spin there to get it turned the right way around, and then a little bit too heavy. See Matthew Dupuis compounding issues once again. After Purcell got it righted, gets to the inside of Purcell, and just around he went. Ron Wolf in 18th, Alex Crawford in 19th, right behind him. Wolf trying to hold on to the position through that penultimate corner, 180-degree left-hander. Ron Wolf's been fast on multiple occasions in this year. Felt like he's been more than deserving of a couple top 10 finishes, perhaps challenging up a little bit further up towards the field, but tonight running a respectable P18. Alexander Hammonds just about loses it coming out of turn number 1. As we look at Blake Gambrill, yeah, Blake Gambrill drove right back on the racetrack after him and Romano got into it. Unfortunate for Romano to get taken out in that, and then Gambrill drove back across the racetrack and got Graham Jordan. Sean Bradley, John Combs side by side for the 5th place position. Coming down to turn 6 and 7, chicane. Combs just settling for P6 at the moment. He was trying to mount a challenge on Bradley a moment ago through 5. Wasn't quite able to get it to stick. And at the end of the day, I really don't like going side by side through that chicane. If you get to the inside, make it happen, but if you're going to be on the outside, you might as well just give it up. Maybe if you got enough overlap, but if you're at the back bumper, if you're at the rear tire wheel well, you should just give up the position. You got no chance there on the outside, but John Combs diving it back down to the inside. He wasn't done with Sean Bradley. Got a good run out of that fast right-hander. Able to dive down to the inside of the 00, take the spot, but he's going to overcook it immediately after. Into the next corner, overcooks it. Hard on the gas pedal, though. Fights back around the outside. John Combs does at the 32, and then wraps it back on the inside. Looked like a mistake from the 32, but he makes it work. Coming out of the final corner, down the front straightaway. Move him up to P5, and move Adam Jackson up to a battle for P6 as Sean Bradley got compromised as John Combs made that mistake. Adam Jackson is going to be there to capitalize. Down into turn number 1, outbreaks the 00, takes the spot. As we're 8 minutes into the race tonight. The yellow flag period did open 5 minutes in. That will close with 10 minutes remaining. So we've got another 36 minutes where we could have cautions. We could have a potential 2 cautions on the night as we see the 31 off the racetrack. It's going to be Austin McColgan. Just lost it under braking once again into turn number 1. Ron Wolf comes through, hits him in the front end. Brooks Clayton comes in, finishes him off, and we saw Ethan Conde get spun off in the back there as well. Aaron Thacker trying to get through the field. Coming up on 10th place of Eric Ronenberg, trying to break into that top 10. Nate 16 started in 16th, so he's moved up about 5 positions. Typically here in the early going in the beer league, we see a lot of heavy movers or a lot of big movers over the course of the first couple laps, first couple minutes. Not so much so here tonight. And I think a big part of that is due to the fact that we did not see one of those big beer league pileups that we see on lap 1 so many times. Austin McColgan, Barrett Morton fighting side by side for the 22nd place. Morton doing a good job holding off currently, but McColgan's going to have the, well, he had the preferred line, but he broke really early, just gave the spot to Barrett Morton. Moved Barrett up to 22nd. Actually, I think Barrett just broke really late because he went well off the racetrack, was just barely able to hang on to it. Nonetheless, he took the spot. Barrett Morton up to 22nd. Checking back in on that battle for 10th, Eric Ronenberg is trying to catch the group in front of him and trying not to fall into the clutches of the group behind. He's got 2 potential positions in front of him with Darren Bailly, Jeremy Castro. Aaron Thacker's hunting him down behind him. Todd Madole, Josh Freed. All can see him out of their windshields. Coming out of turn number 3. Down into the fast left to 4. Jeremy Castro, Darren Bailly off the racetrack. 22 deep on the brakes. A little too deep. Locks up that left front tire. Allows Ronenberg to get to the inside. Coming out of turn number 5. Ronenberg does not quite have the exit speed. Bailly's going to hold on to it. Oh! Can he hold on to it? Coming through the S's. Coming through the chicane, I should say. Ronenberg gave him a bump coming through the braking zone. Bailly able to hang on to it. Nervy moment for the 22, and Ronenberg not patient as Adam Jackson's off. A little bit further back. Was running solidly into the top 10, but Adam Jackson from 6th place is falling back towards the back of the pack. Ron Wolf is now all over his back bumper. And he just lost it all on his own. Out of the chicane, through turn 8. Adam Jackson around. Barrett Morton now through 4. I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, Barrett Morton missed the corner so badly, locked up both front end tires. And then I guess that was just a case of follow the leader from Austin McColgan. That was way, way, way off the racetrack. Yeah, target fixation. Thank you. That's a better word for it. What was a battle for 10th not too long ago for Ronenberg, it's now a battle for 9th. As you got that free position from Adam Jackson not too long ago. We saw Josh Freed just dive to the inside of Todd Madole. Contact between the 2. Wow, Todd Madole was losing that thing, and a second dose of contact saved him. Drops him a couple positions as Bueller's now looking around his outside into turn number 2. But I'd rather lose 2 spots than lose 20. And that's what it's going to be from Madole here as they come through 3. Bueller's going to take it. Actually, Madole does a good job coming out around the outside through 3. I thought Madole was going to do a better job on the inside through that fast kink, not quite. Now through the second one, Madole not able to do him dirty either. Bueller on the inside, now through 5, the 180-degree corner. Gotta have it through the inside of that one. The 58 does. He's gonna hold on to the position from Madole. He's gonna take it, I should say, as Madole lost out in that fight with Josh Freed not too long ago. Brooks Clayton off the racetrack. Austin Tucker in the 243 also. They're running 19th, 20th. I believe that's also Chris Hannigan off a little bit further back. Tucker trying to make a move on Clayton. Contact through the middle of the chicane. Man, the 243 just about up into the air with all 4 tires up on its nose. As Hannigan went spinning with them, all 3 of them having contact through the chicane. Losing a good chunk of time to the race leaders. That's not what you want to see. All 3 of those guys really just trying to pick their way through the field, and that definitely does not help. Losing about 10 seconds off of that accident. Tyler Carlton sitting in the 4th place position. John Combs doing a good job hanging with him. Everybody in the top 5 doing a good job through the first 13, 14 minutes. Just kind of hanging on to each other. Not letting there be too much separation. Only 2 seconds between the front 2, and then 3 seconds back to the 5th place driver after that. Tyler Carlson and John Combs coming down into turn number 4. Using absolutely all the racetrack and more. Gotta say I'm impressed with Chris Bright tonight. I feel like Chris Bright is typically a top 10 guy, but pretty rare that we see him show podium speed. You know, show podium speed is, that's saying a lot, man. I mean, there's 40 guys in here, so to be top 3 and solidly top 3, you know, it really shows that you've got your stuff figured out that given week. Whether you're just a natural at that racetrack or you've put in a lot of time. Which seems that Chris Bright's getting around here really, really well this week compared to most weeks that we see the driver of the 10 out on the racetrack. Checking back in on that battle with Eric Ronenberg on the back bumper of Darren Bailly. Aaron Thacker right behind him. These 3 just can't get away from each other. They all seem to be about the same pace. Or at least, they're all at least similar pace, but faster than Bailly, but not fast enough to get around. And Ronenberg is trying to prove that, as he's all over the back bumper of the 22, just about bumping up through the final corner as we cross that 15-minute mark. 40 minutes to go in the feature race here from Budapest. Eric Ronenberg finally able to dive to the inside of Darren Bailly into turn number 1. Utilize that long braking zone into the corner. Aaron Thacker follows him through as well. Opens the door for himself. Not really in the spot that you want to be coming down into turn number 2, though, on the outside of Bailly. Less than ideal for the 816. If he can just hold the right rear quarter panel coming out of turn number 2, he can give himself a chance. Really screws himself for the entry of the corner. They make contact coming out. Just hangs on from the 816. Opens the door for Josh Freed now. Josh Freed to the inside of the 816. Aaron Thacker under pressure. He's able to hold on, though. Just about, he actually runs wide. Opens the door for the 3 once again. Josh Freed had given it up. Aaron Thacker had the spot, but unfortunately, he overdrove the corner. Turn 4 did him in. And a little bit further up the road, John Combs holding on for P4. Actually, he's just taking it from Tyler Carlton. Carlton had that spot since he dropped the green flag. Now John Combs has taken it away in the 32. How about we take a lap from the cockpit of our 3rd place runner, Kyle Blevins. Give you a little taste of what's going on, give you the sights and sounds of a lap around the Hungaroring. thanks to Kyle Blevins for showing us around the Hungaroring firsthand. Heck of a view there from the driver's seat. I was surprised to see just how much he was using the wheel. I've never used that much wheel in a stock car in my life. Definitely wouldn't do it around the ovals, as we see Todd Badol making an oval in the dirt. Definitely not ideal. Ethan Condi. Ooh. Yeah, we've been seeing that all season. This car, man, on the road courses, the rear braking, the back end just steps out. If you put a little bit too much brake pressure into this thing, holy cow, there's just no saving it. Thing rips around out of absolutely nowhere. We've seen it from Ethan Condi, I think, a couple times tonight. Seen it from multiple drivers tonight, and we've seen it time and time again all season. These things are a handful for these guys under braking. As we're looking at Graham Jordan in the 14, again, under braking. I don't think he got contact before the spinning started there. And again, Condi, all by himself, got to be the same problem, right? Yeah, not as exaggerated, but at the end of the day, still the back end stepping out on him. Darren Bai has given up that spot to Eric Cronenberg, 8th position. They're doing a good job holding on from Josh Freed. We've seen Freed be aggressive, though, any opportunity he gets. We've seen it be very difficult to pass. Again, you got it in the heavy braking zones. If you can get momentum towards the heavy braking zone, you've got an opportunity. But that's really it. So Freed trying to time his momentum. Can he do it coming out of the final corner? That's the big question. These long sweeping 180-degree corners, you really can't build a run into the next 180-degree sweeping corner, right? You can't build a run out of the penultimate corner to the final. But you can build a run out of the final corner to that first corner, especially with the long straightaway we've got here with the draft. Josh Freed firmly in the slipstream from the 22, gonna duck out way early, well before the corner. Easily ducks himself to the inside, breaks way later than Darren Bai to the apex of the for the number 3. Move Josh Freed up to 9th place. And Darren Bai under pressure once again from Aaron Thacker. The 816 all over the back bumper, dives down to the bottom in turn number 2. Late dive and move for the 816. Can he make it stick behind Josh Freed? He runs wide now across the nose into the grass for the 816. He's still got the inside line back across the nose of the 22. He keeps the position, but they're going to lose a handful of time, or a chunk of time to Josh Freed here, and allow Bueller to catch up behind him. And I got to point out earlier, I was talking about the heat race. Mac Verstappen, wow, been running up in the top 15 all night. Great run from Verstappen, running his own race. Good 3-second gap to Ron Wolf behind him, and it's the kind of race you need to see from Mac Verstappen. Thacker losing out another position to Bueller. I think that's the second time I've seen Aaron Thacker lose out on a position because he tried to make a move on somebody else and then lost his spot. So I think that's happened twice to him now in the last handful of laps. Got to be frustrating for the 816, but that's racing. Further up towards the front of the field, battle for P3 starting to heat up. John Combs has been really quick running down our race leaders. Has now dove to the inside of the number 2, found himself to the outside now for the last corner. Not really where you want to be, but can he build himself a run coming out of the corner? Didn't start himself out right with the entry. Oh, and the 17's around once again coming out of the corner. John Combs doesn't quite get the run that he needs in the slipstream now. And the 17 just coming around, clips that apex, or clips the curbing on the inside. Whenever he tries to meet the apex, and just spins that thing around. Combs was not able to make a move to the inside of the 2 on turn number 1. Gonna have to wait a while. I think his next opportunities maybe if he gets lucky turn 5. Another one. Tyler Vietnam. Actually, a little, yep, Tyler Vietnam gets turned by Stefan Purcell, who gets airlifted by Evan Campbell. Second through fourth are running very competitive lap times to our race leader of Alexander Hammonds. Very close between all 4 of these guys. And John Combs has been the quickest of all of them consistently, so if Combs could get through to second place, I wouldn't be surprised to see him potentially run down Alexander Hammonds here in the closing laps. It's been very, very quick in the 32, but again, it's very tough to pass around the Hungaroring tight circuit. Only a couple passing opportunities, and if you miss it, if you miss that dive into turn number 1, you might not get an opportunity until you dive into turn 1 the next lap. Aaron Thacker diving to the inside of Alexander Bueller, not able to make the move stick. Excuse me. Bueller able to hang on into the penultimate corner. Combs not close enough into turn number 1. We've got our first pit stop of the evening. Tyler Carlton pitting from the 5th place position. First of the leaders to come down. Jeremy Castro also down on pit road. Ron Wolf also down on pit road. Not quite to the halfway point, but I imagine we can make it. If we're seeing a bunch of people still staying out at this point, I imagine everybody else is. Everybody else will make it to the halfway point, just off the fact that this lap takes another 2 minutes, or we'll be just shy of the halfway point, I should say. So, we see another driver through the grass here, coming back on the racetrack. Can't quite get the number on that, so dark. Oh, Austin McGolgan sideways, now has to drive through 25 minutes into the event, unfortunately for the 31, right before the pit road, so that's rather convenient, I gotta say, for Austin. Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a one-stop on the night here for the Beer League as we come up on that halfway point. Pit stops will start. Looking at the battle for the 8th place position. Darren Bai holding on. Bueller still holding on the 9th. And Mac Verstappen has climbed his way up into this battle. You got to think we've got a couple pit stops up here. So 3 pit stops. This was the battle for the 10th place position. You got to think that for where we finally cycle through out of the screen. Flag, pit, cycle. But all these guys are really hoping that the caution flag does not fly. Caution flag comes out, all these guys are still going to have to pit. Oh, John Combs, issues coming out of the second to last corner. Now coming down pit road as well with Kyle Blevins, with Chris Bright. Alexander Hammonds, the only one to stay out of the top 5, out of the top 6. Looks like Josh Reed is staying out as well on the racetrack. Darren Bai coming down pit road. Alexander Bueller coming down pit road. The majority of the leaders coming down this lap. So it's telling me we're closer on fuel than maybe I expected. Oh yeah, the caution flag is out. What is that timing? I feel for everybody that has stayed on the racetrack because they're gonna. I think everybody on pit road right now will have enough to make it, just from the fact that they can save so much from the caution. I think that this caution is going to be a rather lengthy period, and everybody that has pitted should be able to make it to the end because they were close to making it to halfway. I don't know. It'll be the question's in the air. There's at least a question mark there whether some people can make it, but not 100% certain coming down to the end of this thing. But with that caution flag, that is going to give us an opportunity right at the halfway point to send this thing to our first commercial break of the evening. Stick with us. We're going to bring this thing to the conclusion of the Budapest bump and run whenever we get back on the other side of the break.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back into Green Flag TV for the running of the Budapest Bump and Run. We've had a caution midway through Green Flag pit stops that has thrown this race for a huge loop. I mean, turned it completely upside down. I mean, we have moved to Australia. The race has shifted continents. We have no idea. The race leader, the guy that's led every single lap so far, Alexander Hammonds, is now relegated to the back of the pack. He had not pitted yet, and the caution came out as he was entering turn number 1. And unfortunately, he now has to fall behind everybody that had short pit him. That now leaves Tyler Carlton, who was the first car on pit road as the race leader. Jeremy Castro has followed him through in second. Adam Jackson, who I believe I remember seeing spinning earlier in the event, is now up to third. Ron Wolf, who was running 20th, is now at 4th. Has Ron Wolf pit? I need my producer to check the fact sheets or the. Okay, Ron Wolf has pitted. He short pitted so early that he somehow jumped a ridiculous amount of people. I don't. Okay, well, what somehow the running order has jumped in so many different ways. I can't even follow. I don't know how in the world Ron Wolf has jumped from 20th to 4th, but he's there. Todd Madole up to 5th. Josh Fried in 6th. Jason Lee, he was 40th at the end of last lap number 1. Is now in 7th. Graham Jordan in 8th, who again has been running in the back the entire night. And now Chris Bright, who was running 2nd, and Kyle Blevins, who was running 3rd, or running 9th and 10th. So that rounds out your top 10. I think our top 3 have been running up towards the front most of the night. Everybody else in the top 8 have been kind of gifted this track position. We got to see what they're going to do with it, and see if Chris Bright and Kyle Blevins can make up for their lost track position. Looking up on the right side of your screen, we've got our upcoming schedule here on Green Flag TV. Coming up tomorrow night, we've got the Speed Tires Plus Cup Series, round number 7 from the Richmond Raceway. That's coming at you live at 9:15 p.m. Eastern. Then 2 nights later on Saturday night, we've got the TNGG IEL Truck Series, round number 4 from the Bristol Motor Speedway, one of my favorite tracks. Holy cow, Bristol's so amazing. And they've made it where both lanes work on iRacing now. They've had that for a couple of years, and it is phenomenal. Absolutely love running both lanes of that racetrack. That's going to be at 4:55 p.m. Eastern. And then, let's see. Sorry, I had to think in my head if there were 31 days in March. I think there are, so 2 days later on Monday night, the HTRL MFRD Monday Night Cup Series. And I know that's on Monday night because I used to broadcast it. Round number 4, I should have known. I should have just looked at the name. From the Phoenix Raceway, 6 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, Monday night. And that's a great series. I'm only not broadcasting it out of prior commitment, unfortunately. But I would still be broadcasting it because that league is phenomenal. The guys that run it are great. And honestly, it's a shame. I'm missing out on some good racing. I haven't gotten to catch the races, but I'm sure they've been just as fantastic as they were last season. And I have gotten confirmation from my producer that they have been great. So check them out Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. You know, I called it this caution period was going to be a while, but I didn't think it was going to be this long, so I definitely underestimated it. But we have taken the white flag of the caution as the pace car lights have gone out. So Tyler Carlton's going to be leading us back to the green flag next time by. But we got that caution with what, 28 minutes to go? It was right at the halfway point, so 27:30, 28 minutes to go, somewhere in there. And this is taken after the caution. Let's see, because our last lap on our caution was over 3 minutes. This is going to have taken off 13.5 minutes of racing. So, very lengthy caution period here for the beer league, and going to make it rather unlikely that we get another one, given that we will only have 4 minutes until the caution period's over. So we should have about 14 minutes of green flag racing to the end of this thing for you guys to the finish. Tyler Carlton's going to be the guy to lead us back to the green. I got to be honest, coming to the end of this thing with 14 minutes to go, I think Carlton's probably the favorite. He was running up in the top 4 already. He had been running up in the top 4 or 5 all night. Castro was right up there, right? I think Castro had been running the top 10 the whole night too, but Carlton was consistently quicker. And now all of his competition is mired back well further back than him. Chris Bright, Kyle Blevins, although I believe both were quicker than Carlton, now have to pass 7 cars to get to him. And the guy that really could pose a problem for him, the guy that had led every single lap so far tonight, Alexander Hammonds, is back to 28th. There's no way, absolutely no way, Alexander Hammonds cracks himself back up into the top 5. So Carlton's main foe, I think, will be Castro. You could potentially see Ryder Blevins sneak their way through, but Tyler Carlton is in the catbird seat, and you got to think that he knows it. He's been gifted an opportunity here. He's got the chance to take the bull by the horns. Can he do it? Man, it's so cool seeing these late model stocks going around a Formula One racetrack. It's so different looking. Oh man, I love iRacing. Just being able to do funky combinations like this and make it work. And the Beer League absolutely makes it work week in, week out. This has been a great race, and it's been absolutely thrown on its head by this mid-race caution. Finally, after laps and laps under the pace car, it is finally pulled off, and it is time to get back under green. With just under 14 minutes to go, Tyler Carlton is going to lead us back to the green flag. As we have a huge checkup towards the front of the field, about 3rd place, Ron Wolf, Todd Madole, side by side for the 2nd place spot. Just about 3 wide entering turn number 1. Further back, Ron Wolf, late dive bomb all the way down to the bottom. Ron Wolf's going to move himself up to P2, and Jeremy Castro's going to go spinning off the nose. I believe it was no, it was not Todd Madole. It might have been Chris Bright who sent him spinning coming out of turn number 1. Jason Lee, a little bit of tire smoke. John Combs trying to get through. Chris Bright all the way off the racetrack on the inside, trying to find any way through. Late race calamity after the caution. Coming back onto the straightaway out of turn number 3, multiple cars around. Oh, up in the air goes Darren Pye, Eric Cronenberg. Up into the air, your previous race leader, Alexander Hammonds, up into the sky. Mac Verstappen still in 13th place. Unbelievable. Somehow, pre-caution, post-caution, Mac Verstappen finding himself in 13th. Coming back onto the straightaway, we see Pye go flying off the ramp of Eric Cronenberg, who gets ramped off of Hammonds, who gets turned to the outside fence. This is an earlier incident into turn number 2. Or no, we're just seeing, we're just getting a Cronenberg flying through the air, having the camera particular on him. I can't say I'm surprised that it kicked off after caution, but I'm surprised that it was more reckless than the race start, and significantly more reckless than the race start. As we see Brian LeBlanc going off, a little bit of contact here through the center of the corner, and that's a left hook, if I've ever seen one. Adam Mailhot was not giving him any room there, that's for sure. Alex Coffer trying to take a spot from Verstappen out of turn number 1. Getting down to the braking zone 2. Verstappen has the preferred groove, but if Coffer can just hold on to that right rear around the corner, he'll have the spot into 3. Looks like he's going to do it. Still just about even around the corner. Then into 3. Fast section. Just about edges out Verstappen, but Verstappen does a good job. Backs out a little bit. Gives Coffer the spot. Now side by side. Into turn 4. Fast left-hander, Austin Tucker on the outside. A little bit of contact. Verstappen hangs on to it. And hangs on to the position for now, but I think Tucker's going to be beating on the back bumper trying to get through here pretty soon as Chris Bright, Kyle Blevins, and Josh Frieder all fighting here for that 5th place position. The more that they fight, the further Tyler Carlson gets away, and Chris Hannigan stopped on the exit of the chicane. Jason Lee also getting going. That's telling me Chris Hannigan was waiting on Jason Lee because he spun him, and I think I'm wrong. Yeah, that's a, yeah, he was waiting on him. That was a little late of a move into the chicane. Does the right thing to let him by, but unfortunate, doesn't give them their spots back. Stefan Purcell, Tyler Vietnan side by side. Austin McColgan right behind Vietnan. Now getting side by side with Purcell as they made contact. Alexander Bueller side by side with the 66 of Adam Joseph Mailhot. Oh, contact through the final quarter. Bueller goes spinning into the inside wall. Oh, gets clobbered. Couldn't quite tell who that was coming through. It might have been Evan Campbell. Tyler Vietnan comes through, tries to take the spot. Now coming back onto the front straightaway. Caution has brought everybody together. It's all been kicking off the last couple of laps. Coming into the final corner, Adam Joseph Mailhot dives it in just a little bit too deep into the quarter panel of the 58. Evan Campbell comes through. Blake Gamble got the 66, and they all had to reset. Lost multiple spots. Up front, though, Ron Wolf had a hell of a restart. Got himself the positioning he needed to potentially run down Tyler Carlson. And I really didn't think he was going to be able to do it. Even though he put himself in the spot. It was a heck of a move to put him there, but I was like, he's been running 18th to 20th. Probably not going to be able to challenge. But he's run down Tyler Carlson. I mean, he's 0.3 of a second off the back bumper of the race leader in the 45. Ron Wolf is doing all he can do to run down the race leader. We've only got 8.5 minutes to go, and it is close between the front two. And if they get together, and we've seen a lot of racing incidents today, if they get together, then Adam Jackson is going to be right there to pick up the crumbs. Oh man, Ron Wolf late on the brakes. You can see that back end stepping out just a little bit. Helping him turn into the corner, honestly, but sketches me out just about every time. Late on the braking, catching up, maybe a little late on the braking into the final corner, diving down to the inside of Tyler Carlson. Race for the race lead. Ron Wolf in the 119 has positioning. He's going to have the lead at the line. Can he hold on to it? Coming down into turn number 1. Side by side for the race lead. Less than 8 minutes to go. Down to the braking zone. Ron Wolf late on the brakes, but Tyler Carlson's later. Wolf turns in early, and he gets the spot. He's able to clear the 45, coming down into turn number 2, move the 119 up to P1. What a drive from Ron Wolf. I mean, yeah, he gets lucky off of the caution, but like I mentioned, he was running 20th. I thought he was a 20th place car. And he gets the track position in the top 5, and he instantly puts himself into the race lead. And he passed a guy that was running in the top 5. I mean, it's not like he passed somebody that was running 25th or 30th. He was passing a guy that was running in the top 5 the entire night. Tyler Carlson qualified 3rd. He won a heat race. As we see Ethan Conde going around. Morganado out of the last corner. Chris Hannigan's got a drive-through penalty. He has unfortunately hit the incident limit with just under 7 minutes to go. Sean Bradley in the 9th place position. Trying to catch up to Kyle Blevins. Blevins might feel a little shorted. Feels like he should be fighting for the podium. They've been running up in the top 3 all night. The caution came out, and he's been relegated to the back half of the top 10. Matthew Dupuis gets to the outside of Graham Jordan. A little bit of contact down the straightaway. Then in the braking zone, Dupuis, Jordan. Able to keep it civil between the two, and Dupuis going to take that spot. Oh, Graham Jordan late on the brakes. Gets onto the curbing. That was I don't know if he was trying to go for a move, but that made a relatively good corner, all things considered, as McColgan goes around and Jason Lee says, get the heck out of my way. can't be slowing down for you at this point. I don't blame him. And unfortunately, Gambrel, man, I feel like just about every time we see somebody spin off the racetrack, Gambrel comes in 3 seconds late and gets caught up in it. I feel like I've been seeing that all year. Sean Bradley to the inside of Crawford, through the fast kink, turn 3. Both of them able to make it out of the other side. Coming down to turn number 4, Alex Crawford in the preferred groove. Bradley just gives him the spot. Jeremy Castro. He had an accident on the first lap of the restart, but it's going to be Brian LeBlanc in front of him, who's actually going around. Adam Milhon had a moment behind him as well. He was able to hold on to it. We're looking at Adam Jackson. No, that's Matthew Dupuy in the 703. Spinning it through turn number 2. Oh, no. That was good from Jason Lee. Not great from Matthew Dupuy on the rejoin. Unfortunate for Eric Runenberg, but I mean, to be fair, I feel like he saw that. But still, I mean, Dupuy basically reversed across the track by hitting the inside wall. Regardless of the damage fix, it ends up not being too big of a deal as we see Lee squeezing through. Wow. That's not a gap, man. That's not a gap. That's incredible. There's no way. Can I see that again? Like, do you have that back on lineup? Like, I mean, you can't get any closer to the left. You can't. I mean, he put that as close to Matthew Dupuy as possible. So if Runenberg was any closer on the right, man, that would have been fine. That was fantastic. Great job from Jason Lee. Awesome piece of driving. A little bit further up towards the front, Ron Wolf has pulled up a 0.8 of a second gap over Tyler Carlton after taking the lead. But he pulled it out to about that big or bigger, and then actually stretched back, or it's come back down. So Carlton doing a good job hanging on, at least, to the back of Ron Wolf. Not letting him get too far away in case Wolf makes a mistake in the late going. Alex Crawford all over the back bumper of Josh Freed. Coming through turn 10. Down to the kink of 11. All over the back bumper. Crawford's been really good through that corner every time. Able to get runs. Able to force himself to the inside. Coming down into turn number 12. Actually, early on the brakes there. Allows Freed to outbrake himself, maybe. Freed does outbrake himself, and he's able to hold on to the position until the next corner where Crawford stuffs it back down to the inside. Gets a little bit too much on the exit or on the curving on the inside. Has to forfeit the fight as Josh Freed keeps that 7th place position. Coming to 2 minutes to go, I believe we've got 2 laps remaining. Carlton's having to go defensive from Adam Jackson. And if Carlton's holding on steady to Ron Wolf on lap time, and Adam Jackson is passing Tyler Carlton, then we got to be pointing out Adam Jackson is running faster than our race leader. And I got to point out, Chris Bright has come from absolutely nowhere. The P4 right on the back bumper of Adam Jackson. So he's got a lap and a half. Looking back on the pass for the lead, where we saw Ron Wolf get to the inside. We saw the drag race all the way down the front straight away. Can these guys run Ron Wolf back down? Has he maybe killed the tires a little bit too much? Did he use them a little bit too much in the early going? They're closing in on the back bumper of the 119. This could be a heck of a battle at the finish, man. I mean, we're coming to 1 lap to go. Chris Bright has stormed up from the 9th place position to get to the back of this. And everybody from 2nd to 4th seems to be a little bit quicker than our race leader whenever they're running their consistent lap times. It's just they're a little bit too far back. They need a mistake from Ron Wolf in the 119 to give them an opportunity. They need something, a misjudgment in the braking zone. Just braking a little bit too late. One time, one mistake, one lockup is all it takes for Tyler Carlton to be all over the back bumper. Ron Wolf coming around to take the white flag. This could be his moment to be on the top step of the Beer League podium for the first time. Can Ron Wolf hang on for one more lap at the Hungaroring here in Budapest, Hungary? Ron Wolf has done a heck of a job hanging on to the race lead since taking it from Tyler Carlton about 10 minutes ago. Got a little lucky with that caution, but sometimes in racing, a little bit of luck is all you need. Tyler Carlton. that helmet's gonna give me nightmares, man. Why did you have to do that? Anyway. It was getting pretty close at the beginning of this lap. Tyler Carlton had been closing the gap. But through turn 3, through turn 4, Ron Wolf stretched it back out just a little bit, running a wider line through turn 5, coming down to the chicane of 6 and 7. What can Carlton do through here? How late can he get on the brakes? Does Wolf make a mistake in the last half of the lap? Or is he gonna bring it home a winner? Through 9 and 10, Ron Wolf in the 119, still holding strong, but still losing ground to the 45 of Tyler Carlton. Coming through the kink of 11 and down to the heavy braking zone of 12, down to under 0.6 of a second. How late can the 45 brake? Coming down into the penultimate corner, still the gap closing. But Ron Wolf has held on into the final corner for the final time. Ron Wolf over the 45 of Tyler Carlton. The 119 is gonna do it. Nice and tiny around the final corner. Ron Wolf is going to win in Budapest. The Budapest Bump and Run goes to the 119. Further back in the pack, more drivers finishing their races side by side. Sean Bradley getting that spot. Evan Campbell trying to pick up a position here in the late going over the 39. Got a replay here of the last lap. Austin McColgan going around once again, making contact with Matthew Dupuis. That was turn 12. Darren Bice skating through on the inside. We've got the classic Beer League parking lot down in turn number 1. Heck of a race here, though, I gotta say. I mean, Hungary did not disappoint. I said it in the pre-race. I thought this was going to be a heck of a race. That caution threw us for a loop, but it made it absolutely entertaining at the finish. And we got a surprise winner here tonight. I wouldn't have picked Ron Wolf in the pre-race. And he's running a steady 15th to 20th the entire first half of the race, but man, he kicked that thing into overdrive for the last 15 minutes of this thing. After the restart, Ron Wolf was the fastest car on the racetrack. The last 5 laps got nervy. They made it close. Carlton got up very, very close to the back bumper of the 119, finishing just half a second behind, but it was not to be for the 45 as Ron Wolf is going to bring it home as the winner of the Budapest Bump and Run. And we're going to bring up your final race results after we show you heat race number 3. Just kidding, that was heat race number 3. Heat race number 4 is coming up just a moment. Actually, the feature results, Ron Wolf brings it home. Gonna bring home the checker flag. Tyler Carlton in 2nd. Adam Jackson in 3rd. Chris Bright 4th. Josh Freed rounds out the top 5. John Combs in 6th place. Kyle Blevins 7th. Alex Cofford 8th. Todd Mabel 9th. And Tyler Augustino rounds out the top 10. Sean Bradley finishes in the 11th position with Austin Tucker, Mac Verstappen, Barrett Morton, Brooks Clayton rounding out the top 15. Aaron Thacker is in 16th, Graham Jordan in 17th, Jordan Babcock in 18th, Evan Campbell 19th, Giovanni Romano in 20th. Tyler Vietnam is 21st, Alexander Bueller in 22nd, Alexander Hammond in 23rd, Jeremy Castro is 24th with Jason Lee in 25th. Eric Runderberg is 26th with Blake Gambrill in 27th and Darren Pye in 28th, Stephen Purcell in 29th, Brian LeBlanc in 30th. 31st is going to be Tanner Klein with 37th, 2nd, Greg Beckman, 33rd, Morgan Otto, 34th, Chris Hannigan, 35th, Adam Mailhot, 36th, Kyle Smith, 37th, Matthew Dupuis, 38th, Austin McColgan, 39th is Jonathan Lefebvre, and 40th is going to be Ethan Condon. Ethan, or not Ethan, that's the last name I just said. Nolan, I don't know how you do that every week. That's a lot of names. My goodness. That's going to do it for all the racing action here from Budapest, but we are going to get to interview our top 3 finishers here in just a moment. We're going to be pulling up our race winner, Ron Wolf. Just a moment. Once we find him, race winner Ron Wolf, do you have a copy?
Yes, I do.
Ron, where did that come from, man?
I got a little lucky with the caution. I think
Agreed, but your restart was fantastic.
I haven't actually looked back. I don't really know. I did it in the last corner, right?
I mean, just you made the move to get second was great. It put you in such a good spot to where you could even challenge for the race lead. Like you were able to get 2 right off the jump, and it just puts you in the perfect position. And I just felt like that's kind of what won you the race in the scenario. Like it put you up front to potentially challenge Carlton, and you just ran him down and gave yourself enough of a gap to protect it. Just what are your feelings right now? Did you expect to come in here a winner?
Absolutely not. Not even a little bit. Even on the restart, I was a little bit in shock being so close to the front. So when we did restart and we got the green flag and I got the run that I did, even getting in the second place, like it was still a bit shocking, and I just needed to calm myself down for the rest of the race and just stay focused on what I was doing.
Okay, so we started seeing, you're saying calm your nerves and whatnot. We started seeing the gap come down over the course of the last 2 or 3 laps. Were your nerves shot a little bit there at the end? Were you freaking out?
Honestly, the last 2-3 laps, I was pretty calm, and I was just making sure I was hitting my braking points. I knew that I could get a decent enough run out of every turn that I wouldn't get run down. I just needed to make sure that I didn't mess up the entry, mess up the downshift, do anything mechanical entering a turn that would cause me to lose it, like coming out of the exit. So no, the last few laps, like I saw the gap coming down, but I was confident that he wasn't going to get a good enough run to get past me.
Were you nervous that if he could get to you, that through that last section of the racetrack, that he could potentially move you out of the way and use the bumper?
A little bit. I'd say like the last 3 corners, I was definitely watching my mirrors a little bit closer. I still felt like I was better through that sector. I mean, that's where I made the pass on him. So I felt like if the move was actually coming, I could defend it well enough.
Well, Ron, congratulations on bringing it home in the top step of the podium, bringing home the checkered flag. I mean, bringing home the trophy, more importantly. So just big congratulations to you on the night. Great points night as well, running for the AM championship. So great performance. You know, like you said, you've got a little bit of luck, but it took a lot of skill to do what you did on the restart to be able to find yourself in victory lane. So big congrats on bringing it home.
Thanks, Austin. Appreciate it. And as always, great broadcast. I'm sure I'll watch it later and I'll still say the same thing. You guys always do a great job.
Well, we appreciate you, Ron. Unfortunately, Nolan was sick today, so it's just me. So you might be a little bored. But, you know, it is what it is. We make do.
All right, thanks, guys.
No problem. Congratulations to Ron Wolf, race winner. Next up, we're going to be interviewing our second place finisher. That is going to be the 45 of Tyler Carlton. Tyler, bringing it home in P2 today. Might feel like you came up a little bit short. I felt like you were the favorite on that restart. Do you kind of feel the same way?
I mean, yeah, it's a bummer, to start first on the restart and not, turn that into a win. But just to be at the front at all, I was pretty satisfied. So can't be too mad, to bring it home P2. It's my best result in this league by far. So super stoked on that.
Well, just kind of walk us through your race. You're running, roughly top 5 the entire time, right? About 5th. Then you pit and that caution comes out. What's kind of running through your mind whenever you inherit the race lead out of nowhere?
Yeah, honestly, I just got super lucky. I was trying to stretch it one more lap, but it was going to be really close, so I pit early. And then coming out, and obviously the caution flew that next lap when a bunch of the guys in front of me were in the pits. And with the bug to get where they get the end of line, that was kind of a bummer that they got a lot of the front guys got pushed back, but it sometimes you got to be lucky in these kind of races. So. Yeah, and then starting P1 off the restart, just trying to hold on to whatever I could. I knew there's fast guys coming from behind, and just trying to hold on.
Talking about that, do you think that there's anything different that you could have done to hold off Ron, or done anything different to run him back down?
Yeah, we were pretty similar on pace. He got by me. I was a mess that lap. I was kind of cracking under the pressure of having him right on my bumper, and I just got loose in a couple turns. Gave him a window. He drove through it, and I just couldn't get back under. And it's hard to make a move on this track. So I don't think there's much else I could have done other than hold it together a little better in front, maybe defend a little harder going into that corner, because it is tough to pass. But yeah, he made a great move, took an opportunity that was there, and got to applaud him for it.
Well, regardless, congratulations on bringing it home in second place tonight in the Budapest Bump and Run. Looking forward to talking to you more during the season as well. I imagine this isn't going to be the last time, because you're pretty quick the entire night, running up in the top 5. So looking forward to talking to you more, and congrats again on that second place finish.
Thank you, appreciate it. Yep, hopefully I'll see you guys again.
Alrighty, that was our second place finisher, Tyler Carlton. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing our third place finisher anywhere in our Discord, so I don't think that we're going to be able to contact Adam Jackson. So I believe that is going to do it here for us at the Beer League and at Green Flag TV. And for everybody at Green Flag TV, including myself and Nolan J. Rimple, we would like to thank everybody for coming out and watching the Budapest Bump and Run. Great finish that we saw between Ron Wolf and Tyler Carlton coming down to the finish. Absolutely thrilling between those two. Ron Wolf bringing it home in a nail biter, just half a second between those two. Make sure you tune in again next week, next Wednesday night, as we will go racing once again in the Beer League, where the wheel will decide our fate. Tune in next week at 8:30 p.m. Central Time.